So the ServiceNow CEO told everyone no more layoffs. Well, according to a recent WARN notice in California, it looks like ServiceNow is backtracking on that decision. I mean, we're seeing this all over the place, especially in tech right now, where company CEO will go on the record one month and then the next month it's like, actually forget everything I said. To y'all's point in the comments, it makes it hard to believe them, and you got to take some of the stuff they say with a grain of salt. Regardless, what's happening at ServiceNow, I think, is really, really interesting. According to the WARN notice filed in San Diego, there are 63 cuts, which seems like a small number, but there are indications that there are more layoffs coming, and we're going to talk about that here in just a moment. I think, like, in order to kind of understand why this matters, you need to understand, at least briefly and concisely, what ServiceNow does. ServiceNow is a publicly traded company. Right now, you can buy stock in ServiceNow for about $105 a share. It's a cloud-based enterprise AI platform that automates business workflows. So you want to implement AI agents into your organization. This is what they do, everything from IT to employee workflows, customer workflows, CSM, creator workflows. They go in and they implement AI agents all over your business. And quite frankly, it looks like they're putting their money where their mouth is and implementing a lot of AI agents into their organization as well. And we've talked about this, guys. Like, this is the year of the AI employee. This is the year where we stop looking at AI as a tool and start looking at AI as an employee. And at least I think for me, it's when OpenClaw went live and we started seeing agents and open source models in the hands of millions of people, that it was pretty clear to me that everything had changed. Not to mention that when I started seeing buddies of mine who had no business in software creating their own apps, I was like, okay, the world has definitely changed. Although creating apps and deploying AI agents is a little bit different. Regardless, AI is really, really changing things up right now. Now, back to ServiceNow. This is one of the hottest AI business opportunities right now, and ServiceNow is definitely on the cutting edge of that. But it looks like it's not exactly helping their employees, at least too much. Anyway, in April, several hundred ServiceNow engineers were told to resign or take the package. While the exact numbers are not 100% clear, it looks like anywhere from 2,000 to 3,000 employees were let go during the first half of the year. Now, the ServiceNow CEO, Bill McDermott, said in April that he expected the company to have the same headcount going into 2027 as they did going into 2026, which on its face is already interesting, because what does every publicly traded company want to do? Grow, get bigger, more revenue, more offerings, higher profit margins, better returns. Like, that is the goal just about of any company, but especially a publicly traded company. And traditionally, how do you do that? How do you grow a company like that? How? Well, you need people. You want more revenue, you need more people. And I think probably what he's trying to say here is, like, we're going to grow, but we don't need new people. We're going to go into the next year, we're going to be a bigger company, and we're going to have the same headcount. And I think that's what he is trying to say there. But listen to this. I think this is really interesting, because here's the thing. If you're going to go into next year with the same amount of people that you went into this year, if you go into 2027 with the same amount of people that you had going in 2026, well, that would mean that you are either not firing people or you are hiring people, right? You can't just lay off a few thousand people in the beginning of the year and start off next year with the same. No, you'd have to have some differences there. But listen to what Mr. McDermott, CEO McDermott, says. He says, as you have attrition in the company, you don't need to backfill it. So we can still have a great culture. We can still have enormous high performance standards, and at the same time, we can capture massive efficiencies to expand the free cash flow margin of the corporation. Now, that's a lot of corporate speak, right? But the key there is in the beginning. As you have attrition in the company, you don't need to backfill it. AKA, when you fire or people leave your company, you don't need to replace them. Why? Because you have AI agents. And, we covered this in a video yesterday where Meta kind of did a similar thing. They laid off and displaced, was it 8,000 people laid off, and another 7,000 moved around. Anyway, thousands and thousands of people at Meta getting moved around. And then they decided, well, maybe we went too far. Maybe we need to hire back people. We saw that in a number of companies like Klarna. We saw that at Salesforce. The reality is that I think a lot of these CEOs, these organizations, are either over-promising, under-delivering, or they're over-expecting. They expect that these AI agents are just gonna go in, they're gonna be implemented, and they're gonna replace everyone. And I know there's guys in the comments that think that too. That is not my stance. That's not my stance. I think that the AI is gonna go in, it's gonna completely transform the way that work is done within the organization. So you, as a man trying to stay financially free and relevant in this world, are going to say, if the whole organization changes and my job description changes, well, I need to make sure that I fit that new job description, or I need to find somewhere where I can fit that job description. Does that make sense? Does that make sense? Because if you're not able to deploy agents, if you're not able to set up context, if you're not able to set up a flywheel of data, if you're not capable of iterating and improving, if you're not capable of giving good first-party and third-party context, if you're not capable of good prompts, you know what I'm saying? You're just not going to be able to function. Period. Like everything has changed. Guys, we've been covering this for months now. If you go back to the beginning of the year when Claude Cowork dropped, like you saw SaaS companies tank because it completely transformed the way the code was written. I mean, we've got companies like Google saying that 75% of their code is written by AI now. Like, you don't think that that's going to change the way that organizations function? It does. Anyway, the reality here is that AI productivity reduces the hiring needs. And again, that's what companies are doing. They're shifting people out and they're not replacing them. They're, I guess, hoping that the people that are still inside the organization are going to be able to function with that AI and use that AI to become much more effective. And I don't know about you, but you know, what's going to happen is the expectation for the people that work there is going to be increased. This is not going to be like, it's going to, like, you're going to be expected to churn because, or churn out numbers because what's going to end up happening here is there's going to be some new metrics that that these companies are really going to look at. The first of which is going to be revenue per employee. And that's the big one. Your expected return is going to be higher. And with these new organizational structures that are more flat, you know, one manager to 50 team members or to 50 employees, there's not going to be a lot of place to hide in the big bureaucracy of a large corporation. Anyway, we're going to be looking for revenue per employee. We're going to be looking at operating margins, customer adoption of the autonomous products, autonomous workforce products, and growth in the AI-related revenue for ServiceNow. Huge changes, huge changes. And by the way, I do want to give a shout out to the viewers on the channel who suggest stories. This story was suggested by a viewer on the channel, and I said, that looks like a good story, let's cover it. So thank you for throwing that in the comments. I try to read all the comments, but it's tough when I woke up this morning, I had 250 comments to respond to, and I was like doing my best, but I really appreciate you guys leaving those comments. Every single one matters. It matters because this topic matters. And I don't know about you, but I just don't see people talking about this topic a lot. It seems like people either, I don't know, it's not that AI is going to destroy the world, but it changes the world dramatically. And with that change comes a lot of opportunity. Anyway, but there's a lot of problems too. So at ServiceNow, there are some reports on X and some threads on Reddit where employees went to bed feeling they were safe with their job, but woke up being told they were fired. And not just that they were fired, but their boss is fired and their boss's boss was fired. So we're seeing massive changes at companies like ServiceNow. And in any event, I think there's a few takeaways. There's a few lessons I think that we should be considering here. The first of which is that these companies are innovating very quickly with AI. And if you're not learning and adapting publicly, you're on dangerous ground. And what do I mean by publicly? I mean, you're showing people what you're building. You're talking about it. You're sharing posts on LinkedIn. You're speaking to other people in the organization. You're talking to your friend that you went to college with who works at another organization. You got to be public because there may very well be a chance that you're going to need to shift in the future. I mean, I was just, just because I'm out there and I'm talking to a lot of people, different opportunities come across my plate. So I got another opportunity that I might be invested in, building out a marketing studio in downtown area where I live. For a big guy, he just bought a 45,000 square foot warehouse. He wants to just invest in the whole thing, build it up, but he needs someone to like document and do all the marketing and the YouTube for it. So that's an opportunity I have. Why? Because I'm always talking about YouTube. I'm always talking about AI, and we connected. So publicly sharing what you do is important, okay? Historically, again, the other lesson here is historically revenue growth requires more people, but that is not the new model. The new model is more efficient workers will generate more revenue. This is the new model, guys. And you might not like it, but that is what's happening. And frankly, it's going to mean a lot more profit, which can lead to more profit sharing and so on and so forth. Third, nothing is safe right now. Grow your skills, grow your relationships, and please, for the love of God, be public about AI. Every time you're talking to someone, at least my stance is I want to be talking about AI and what I'm doing and how I'm doing it and what I think is exciting about it. So there you have it, guys. ServiceNow, big changes. Let me know what you think. Let me know what you think about this new kind of corporate structure. And again, if big companies are doing it, little companies can do it too. You know, you don't necessarily, if you are comfortable with AI agents, you don't need to be selling to ServiceNow. You could be selling to smaller operations where your AI agentic skills can come into play. And I think that's a huge opportunity right now, is starting your own small business, consulting, client work. I think that is a huge opportunity for guys like you and me. And because at the end of the day, if you lose your job, well, you already have a side hustle. You already have hedged. And at any rate, I'm glad I took that path a few years ago. And it's opened up a lot of opportunities. I was in a soul-sucking insurance position, and I don't do insurance anymore. And I wake up with something fun to do every day. So anyway, thanks for watching today's video, guys. If you liked the video, smash the like, smash the thumbs up, and check out yesterday's video where we talk about what happened at Meta, where Zuckerberg fired a ton of people and turned around and said, maybe we made a mistake. What was that mistake? You gotta check out yesterday's video to find out. I'll see you there. Peace.